In June 2020, it was announced that the Splash Mountain attraction theme to Disney's 1946 film Song of the South, which opened in 1989 and 1992 at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom respectively, will be rethemed on Disney's animation 2009 film The Princess and the Frog. Disney stated that the development of the project began in 2019, part of the online petitions that were circulated during the George Floyd protest. There has been scrutiny of the Song of the South, which was rarely aired or shown in the U.S. due to its controversial aspects. It has been considered by critics as portraying African Americans as stereotypes, making them appear content with plantation life in the post-Civil War South. At the time of this release, the NAACP protested its subject matter. Walt Disney Imagineering based Splash Mountain on the animated portions of the film, which the company felt at the time would leave them unaffected by these issues.
Hello, my name is Logan Shaw. Welcome to LogansStory. Today we're talking about this next historical worldview context of Disneyland rides. Today we're talking about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Thank you for coming. Let's get into it. Alright, so there's something wrong. Inherently wrong. Not with the ride or anything, just something else. The aura of the history of the ride seems to be something that, well, seems to be problematic. See, in this time, it was around 2023, 2024, around the 2020 era, well, that'd be this era, Tiana's Bayou was made for a specific reason, and a reason endowed in something that may be indifferent to itself. And that being as it may, it seems to be something historical happened in the eyes of America, and yet still happens to this very day. See, the thing is, this ride was made for the implementation of easing some minds. While earlier called Splash Mountain, Tiana's Bayou Adventure is a more promising node for the story of the ride. The story behind Splash Mountain is the one that got people raising their eyebrows. In this decade, 2020, George Floyd was all the topic in terms of the right between racism and the lines between cops and police officers. The history is branded as so. George Floyd, I can't breathe. And even though this might or might not be the reason why Tiana's Bayou Adventure came to fruition, it certainly supplements the idea of it. And because of that, there seems to be something inherently wrong with the history. But the ride shows to be something that's rising above the history in some cases, whether or not. And even though a touchy subject between people who are for the Black Lives Matter or for the essential Blue Lives Matter, Tiana's Bayou Adventure hopes to bring people together in some cases. Even though the stemming comes from a 2009 feature, The Princess and the Frog, to the 2024 release, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, there seems to be something inherently wrong with history. Although, is there something wrong with history? Or is it something we can view as a past mistake, and one that America can do better of on the next road? See, the thing is, Tiana's Bayou Adventure stems from little girls, little black girls wanting to be princesses. But here's the thing, do they even care about that? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. But because of the history, because of where I came from, because of what implemented the ride in the first place. I mean, there was a petition signing for a ride such as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and they got what they wanted, a whole ride based on Princess and the Frog. Now, the ride in itself, I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen videos of it, but I haven't ridden it. But here's the thing. We're going to go in depth a little bit with this history and how we should use this to reflect upon social media, news, and other outlets. Where do you get your news from? Where do you get your information from? Implementation-wise, we're going to talk about that, all in connection to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Let's go into detail. Okay, so when it comes down to it, this ride has a lot to show, and it has a lot to cover, too. I mean, think about it. Splash Mountain was a multi-generational ride. And what I mean by that is it shows generations of different storytelling techniques, whether it be singing, dancing, adventure, and horror, all implemented in Splash Mountain. But the thing is with Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and what makes it so unique, is the blessing of music and driven rhythm storytelling. See, the thing is, when it comes down to the very innate thing that Tiana's Bayou Adventure represents, it's a storytelling technique through music. And it drives the whole ride like a bumpy car in the night, with smooth terrain, I guess you could say. But here's the thing. What made this ride come up in the first place? Why did it come up in the first place? And are people okay with it? Or are people not okay with it? Here's the thing. In history, it shows that when one thing happens, people tend to collide together and make another thing happen. If one thing ends up going wrong in every state of the way, in every country we know of, there's going to be resistance. If there's going to be something happening in terms of the way we view things in American culture, then the thing is, we're going to go against it. And here's the thing. The American people have been doing this ever since the Tea Party. We've been able to enable the higher powers to do our bidding, and not in the general sense of bidding, like, a bad thing. To do what we desire is right in the given time. But the thing is, when something like police and black people come together, it's beautiful. Because here's the thing. Police and black people historically have not been the best friends. Whether it be because of black people or whether it be because of officers, there needs to be common ground between the two. And the thing is, when it comes down to it, Disney was fighting for that right for black people to be heard, their voices to be heard. I mean, we have Pete Docter making a movie such as Soul. The innate nature of the creators of many great Disney classics creating Princess and the Frog. They could have put a white princess with a frog. He could have put, a white person in the main role of Soul. There's a lot that could have happened. But because people care, because the idea of caring, the idea of giving, the idea of listening, there has to be something done for both parties. And here's the thing. When black people and other people besides black people collide, it's a beautiful thing. Because here's the thing. In American culture, the thing is, black people have a place in American history. They've been able to do things that have been indifferent to some people for years and decades, such as being musicians, even doctors, entertainment. There's a lot of different things that happened in this black circle that make them so special. But the thing is, that doesn't make anyone else less special. It's just a highlight to show that we don't know how to treat black people as entirety. But here's the thing. Maybe now we do. See, the ride was supposed to go on an endeavor of teaching everyone that it's okay to be black. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be whatever race you want to be okay. Because that's what the race you were born with. And you should be able to embrace it rather than degrade it. And what the George Floyd protest showed is everyone was for everyone. And everyone knew that this was bad. Everyone knew that this had something that shouldn't happen in American society. See, the thing is, when Derek Chauvin kneeled on George Floyd's neck, we knew that it was wrong. We couldn't do anything about it because, well, would you do something about it? Would you be willing to fight an officer to get someone off his neck? George Floyd. What would you do in that circumstance? Here's the thing. I digress myself. The point is, when you put together all this, it leads to the question, what are we going to do about it? And Disney had that question too, because they had to bring to light something that was stereotypical in their past stage. A 1940s film called Song of the South, and replacing a very, very uplifting story of Princess and the Frog. And, it's uplifting to say the least. And to show this, Disney decided to put on the brakes of what they were doing and make sure they heard the people that were saying, we need change. And thus, Tiana's Value Adventure is born. But the thing is, here's the thing. What does this mean for you and I? What can we take away from the George Floyd madness and the recombustion of Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Well, application, of course. Okay, so listen up. Listen with all your ears. Listen to what I have to say. Sometimes the voice needs to be heard more than you know. Because things happen when you say things. Things happen when you voice against the injustice. Things happen when you do what's right. If you have a voice, use it. If you've been raised to talk about things that are really hard to talk about, and if you had ways to reason with things that were hard to talk about, if you've been raised to do that, do it. Because there's no other person but you that can do it. And I guarantee you, if it's a bad enough problem, more people will be on it. And more people will want to speak against it. See, the thing is, when we live in a world where there's no sense of the voice, and we live in a world where there's no sense of trying to change things, then the most dastardly things happen. So in this case, if you want ketchup, go up to the girl that works behind the counter and get it. Because she will give it to you. She's paid to give it to you. But all jokes aside, make sure you know that at the end of the day, this ride came about and Disney listened. If you speak up, if you do what you gotta do to fight against the injustice, and maybe you and only you, but here's the thing, people will start to agree with you. Whatever negative thing happened in the past years has been spoken up and risen against. We can do the same thing. Keep rising against the injustice, because one day it will come to fruition for the justice. Thank you for my application, and let's continue forward. Thank you for coming along to the tutorial. Thank you for coming in this historical worldview context of Disneyland rides. There will be more rides in the future, so keep an eye out for those. Also, the mission is 1,000 subscribers. You guys can make it there by hitting the share, like, and subscribe button right on the screen. Also by hitting that bell. Leave a comment if you can too. Thank you again, and peace out.